What's up, you guys? It's your girl Alex Schar. You're watching my YouTube channel, Alex Can Do That. And I just wanted to tell you about my experience whenever I met Fifth Harmony. So a lot of you guys know I went to the Dallas show just a couple days ago. I didn't get to meet them, but I got to see them. I had really close seats, like third row. It was amazing. I had so many interaction with them on stage. It was amazing, just wonderful. And so 2 days later, got in my car, drove 5 hours with Chase. 5 hours with Chase to the Midland show where I was going to meet them. I got sound check passes or whatever, I did the same thing I did at the Dallas show. I met a whole bunch of people right before and just made a lot of friends and stuff. But I'm just going to tell you about my experience meeting them and whatnot. So it actually wasn't at all how I planned it would go. I got there, met everybody and whatnot, and then we made our way inside, and I was just super nervous. I met this friend who watched my videos, and we were both freaking out, and her sister or somebody, I think, snuck into the show, like the sound check thing, which I thought was actually pretty cool, like mad props to her, right? So her sister snuck in or whatever, and we're just like hanging out, getting ready. The girls came on, it was lit. Oh my gosh, I was just freaking out. It was really cool to see them in person looking completely normal. Like with their regular clothes on, they just walked on stage, they sang Better Together, they were super lit and stuff. I was doing great at this point. I was like freaking out, screaming, just having a great time. And then they did X's and O's, that was beautiful and stuff. I was still doing great, just really excited to see them. I was just trying to take it all in and stuff. And then they started doing questions. And so the guy was walking around doing questions and stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I was just like, wow, this is wonderful. And then all of a sudden, my heart just starts to do this really weird thing where it like skipped a beat and it felt like it wasn't beating anymore. And then so I was like, whoa, that was weird. And then my chest started to tighten up, like really, like it just felt like it was just shrinking in, right? And so I was having trouble breathing, but I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was putting my hand over my chest and I was like recording and stuff. And so I was just trying to like catch my breath and stuff. I was listening to the questions that was going on, just taking in that Fifth Harmony was right in front of me, right? Just like looking at them. Lauren looked amazing. I was just like, and I was just trying to breathe. And then I just kept finding it harder and harder to breathe until like, I just started freaking out. My mind just started racing all over the place. And then I realized, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm having a panic attack. So then I was like, come on, Alex, like, no, like, this is not the time nor the place, calm down, like, just, like, breathe, Fifth Harmony's right in front of you, you paid $400 to be here, like, calm down. Like, so I'm just, like, I'm trying to, like, contain myself. There's all these people around me, like, shoving, like, everybody's shoving to get to the front because they want to get as close as possible, like, waving frantically and stuff. So it's already kind of, like, a low, like, it's just, like, a little hostile situation. So I'm, like, I'm just like a little bit freaked out, but then it gets worse and worse and worse. And so at this point, I don't know what to do. Do I leave? Like, do I continue watching them and like just try to get through it or whatever? And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And no matter what I did to try to calm myself down, I couldn't. So, I mean, eventually I started crying. I couldn't breathe. So I didn't want anybody to see me like that. So I grabbed all my stuff and I went to the back of the little area that we were at, and everybody was up against the gates, and I just sat down in my chair and I was just trying to breathe. And somebody noticed, somebody who was a fan of my video, she noticed and she was like, hey, are you doing okay? And I was just like in tears, and I was like, no, I'm totally fine, like seriously, don't worry about me, like Fifth Harmony's right there. Just because I'm not having a good time doesn't mean you shouldn't. And I didn't want to take that experience away from her, I mean, it's so great that she wanted to check on me, but I was just like, girl, go see your idols. Fifth Harmony's right there, go. And so she did, and that made me, I was just glad that she wanted to check on me, but also she could just go up there. And so I was just like, just breathing, trying to like control myself, because at this point I really couldn't. And one of like the security workers noticed that I was freaking out, and so she came over to the back and was like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, like, because I just don't want anybody's help at this point. And the girls go off stage, and so I missed like the end half of their sound check or whatever. And she's like, okay, well, can I get you water or something? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. She's like, okay. And so they're lining people up, and so then I start to freak out more, because I'm like, whoa, I've got the blue wristband. Does this mean I get to meet them? Because like they're lining up people with orange wristbands. And she's like, yeah, don't worry. She's like, follow me to this line. So I was like, okay. So I follow her to this line, and there's like a line of people, whatever, and we just stand there awkwardly. And so I'm like, do I get in the front of the line? Do I stand with you? Or like, Do I go to the back of the, like, I'm actually still crying and freaking out at the same time. This is just what's going on in my mind. So she doesn't say anything, she just looks at me. So I like cryingly, like shakingly, like hyperventilating, like walk to the back of the line. And it was so shameful because there were so many people who like told me they loved me before the show and that they watched my videos, like so many people I met, and they just watched me as I like just like that, as I just was like freaking out walking down the line. It was just, oh, it's just such a like terrible experience for them to see me that way. And I got to the back of the line and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then a bunch of people who I guess they watched my videos and they knew me, they came to the back of the line and they're like, are you okay? And they were just checking on me. They were hugging me and they're giving me their waters and stuff that they bought. And like this girl, she told me, she's like, put your hands over your face like that, like this, so that you can breathe your own air. I did it and it just like helped me calm down. I was able to breathe and like just take a breath and, you know, like step back and they talked to me, distracted me from what was going on, and I just felt so much better. I just felt so like, just so much better. And it was such a like really nice experience that they helped me out with that or whatever. And so, just like, we got in line and we waited for a long time and stuff, and they're like, no phones. And so I tried to do this thing where I put my phone, I turned it off, but I put the recording on and I set it in my purse. So when they asked me about it, there was like nothing there or whatever. But when I got to the front of the line, Chase called me and it cut it off. So there's no sound recording, just me freaking out in line. That's the only thing I got. But, so I'll just skip to the part where I actually met them. So I was at the front of the, like, I was probably at the very, very end. I was like sixth to last. And then so it was finally my turn to go. And the lady who originally checked on me, like security of somewhat or whatever, I think she was like a venue worker or something. She's like, are you better now? And so I was like lying, but I was like, yeah. I was just a little bit nervous. And she's like, oh, don't worry, whatever. And so I had my purse with me. And inside my purse, I had my shirts. I had five shirts. One was specially made for Lauren that had like my face and her face on it, and the rest said Team Alice Can Do That, and I was wearing my Team Alice Can Do That shirt. The girls were supposed to wear that with me in my picture. That was my pose. That's what I wanted to happen. So she's like, all right, you gotta go. So I'm like, yeah. So I got my purse and stuff, and they're like, oh, we'll take this. And I was like, wait. I need to get the shirts out. So they let me get my shirts out, and I walk around, and then there's a big banner, and the girls are on the other side of the banner taking pictures. So I have to wait a second so that they can go, and the room is so chaotic. I'm full of anxiety. I'm still freaking out. Like, I hadn't gotten over what happened earlier or whatever, but I'm just like trying to breathe or whatever, and just like everybody's like yelling. It's such a loud room. Everybody's moving and stuff, and they're pushing me too, which makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't like to be forced. So we make it so it's almost my turn. They make me run to the side, and then security's like, what is this? And I was like, they're shirts. It's for the girls, and I have them wrapped up and stuff. It's really neat. And he's like, okay, well, we'll give them to them. I was like, no, it's for the picture. They're going to wear these shirts, those shirts that I'm wearing, we're going to wear it for the picture. And he says, no, we don't have time for that. He grabs my shirts that I designed them, spent so much time on them, throws them on the ground. He throws my shirts on the ground and says, we don't have time for this. Grabs me by the arm and pulls me over to the other side of the banner. And so, of course, I'm like kind of crying, like, because he did that. And, you know, I'm not just being over emotional, but like I cared a lot about the shirts. I had a plan. I had like an idea as to how, at least a little bit, I wanted it to go. I already knew what I wanted my picture to look like, you know. So I just had this mindset, like I dreamt about this moment, and he was ruining it. Security was just ruining my, like, what I thought that, you know, it could somewhat be like. And so I'm like half crying, you know, being yanked over around the thing, and then so I see them, like, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'd never been this close to all five of them looking completely normal, you know. And I was just like, it was like, wow, like, this was a matter of seconds, because, you know, I had no time whatsoever. So within like the first 2 seconds of seeing them, I just like, I looked at them and I was just like taking it in. They're so gorgeous and so kind. They're all smiling. I was like looking at Lauren. She's wearing a bright red lipstick, and it made her eyes look so eccentric, like so green, like gorgeous. And her hair looked so dark, and she was wearing a really nice black dress. And Normani was closest to me, and it was like Normani, Dinah, Ali, Lauren, Camila, going down the line like that. And so I looked at them for half a second, and then I got really excited and smiling, even though I was like kind of like crying a little bit. And I just did like a quick little like happy like jig, like a dance of some sort. And then I just like ran over to Normani and I gave her a hug, and she was like, she was like, we watched your video. And I don't know if she said videos or video. I'm gonna assume she said video because, you know, they probably don't know like much about what I do. But I was like, you did? And then Dinah was like, yeah, I showed it to them. And they're just so happy and smiling. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then like I threw my arms around Dinah and it's like I hugged her so tight. And then I made my way down and Allie looked up to me because I was wearing these heels that made me much, like really tall. Like I was probably maybe the same height or even taller than Dinah in the shoes because Dinah was wearing flats. And she was like, and then Allie put her hands on her hips and she looked up at me. She was wearing overalls like I am. And she was like, so you're the one who hit me in the face. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, and I was just feeling like, after that, I felt like a little bit more comfortable because they made me so happy. And I got like hugged her and stuff and she's so short and stuff. And so I was like, I was in the process of making it over to Lauren because for the picture, I wanted to be like, with Lauren, like I wanted to like, I don't know, like hug her, kiss on the cheeks, something like like my goal was Lauren, but I'm OT5AF, so I was like, I have to get through everybody. And so I hugged Allie and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, look over here, you know, because security's so freaking rude. And I'm like, what? And they're like 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, oh my God, like I have no idea what's going on because in my mind I was like, the shirts, like that was my go-to thing. And so I'm focused, like I'm like, the shirts. And so they're like, they take the picture and I'm like kind of trying to smile and I have my arms around Allie and or whatever. And then like the anxiety just floods back in immediately. Like everything, all the happiness that I had, it just like went away and immediately the anxiety hit me like a brick wall. And I was just like, I started breathing in all crazy. And then Dinah goes, what do you want for the second picture? All happy and stuff. And then I was like, I'm in these situations, especially whenever I feel uncomfortable, I don't really know how to make a decision quickly, so I get kind of like, so in this exact situation, exactly what I did, I was just like, and so that she's like all smiley and stuff, and she's like, what do you want to do? Like they're just like looking at me, and I'm like, and then I just get kind of upset because everything is wrong, and I was like, I mean, I don't know, I was like, kisses, I guess, and then so I didn't realize that this actually happened, but I just looked at my pictures yesterday. Allie had her arms around me and Dinah was holding my hand because I guess she realized that I was crying. And so when I said kisses, they both went like this. But it made me more sad because I was like, oh, they're not even going to kiss my cheek. And then so I started crying. And so I looking at the picture, Dinah actually did kiss my cheek, but I was so full of like, I was just so like torn and like messed up at the moment that I didn't even realize that. And so she gave me a kiss or whatever and I took my picture or whatever. So yes, my second picture is literally me crying. And so if you want, you can check that out. It's on Twitter, Instagram, everything, whatever. And so then they're like, all right, move along. So I make my way over and then I see Lauren and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like she's wearing like somewhat of heels or whatever. I'm wearing my heels. So maybe I look a little bit taller than her at this point, but like we're face to face. Like I can look into her like green, like crystal clear eyes. Like, oh my gosh, they were so beautiful. And she was just smiling and she had nothing to say. She didn't say anything. Everyone was so talkative. She had nothing to say whatsoever. And I guess it kind of made her more of a mystery. Like honestly, no matter what, like looking into her face, looking into her eyes, just trying to read her and think, what is she thinking? Does she like me? Does she like what I'm wearing? What does she think about what the other girls are saying? I have no clue because she seemed completely unreadable, but she just seemed smiley, I guess. So I was just like in shock because Lauren Haregi was literally like 2 inches from my face. Like I was so close to her and she looked me right in my eyes. She was just smiling. And so I was just like, this was all within like literally half a second. I was just able to look at her for half a second right in the eyes. And I just hugged her. I said, Lauren. And I just hugged her. And she just like, I squeezed her so tight and she was so warm and so comfortable. And she just wrapped her arms around me really calmly and stuff. And she didn't pull away or anything. She just let me hug her for as long as I was going to hug her. And it just was like, oh, it was just such a comfortable, like home. Like it just was like, it was beautiful. Those 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds, amazing, absolutely amazing. And then of course security is like, move along. So it scares me. I kind of jump, you know, and I let go of her. I look at her for like one last time, the last moment, more than likely that I'll ever get to look Lauren Haregi in the face ever again. I look at her, taking all the beauty, and then move along because security is pushing me out at this point. And so then I make it down to over where Camila is, and she puts her arm out to stop kind of security from pushing me. Like, and she touches my arm, and she's like, she's like, hey, you look familiar. And like the room is so chaotic, like I said earlier, loud. There's just like, they're trying to get people in and out, in and out, in and out. So they don't care how much money you spent to be here. They're trying to do their job, and it doesn't matter how rude they have to be. They're just trying to get me out. So I have, of course, so much anxiety. I'm still like freaking out. And because I was just crying when I took a picture with Dinah, and when, you know, I took pictures with all of them, but when, you know, took a picture or whatever, I was crying. I was crying when I hugged Lauren, and I was just like trying to contain myself talking to Camila because I didn't have a conversation with Lauren. I was just crying and hugging her because I didn't know what to do, because I forgot to say this. I had a thing planned out. When I saw Lauren Haregi, everything was gone. I practiced this. I went every single day, not every single day, but for a long time before the concert. I looked in the mirror at myself and I told her what I wanted to say to her. It wasn't like long or a speech or anything, just a few short words that could be how like meaningful, like what I meant, like what I wanted to say to her, just to show how much I love her and how much she has an impact on me and how beautiful of a person I think she is, and just the things that she does, I think that they're amazing. And so I forgot it all as soon as I saw her. But they pushed me along to Camila, and she was so calm. Camila, so calm. Everything was chaotic in the room, and she just looked at me and she was like, you look familiar. And I was like, I do? And she was like, I was going to tell her, I was like, I think I said maybe that we'd met before, but I don't think she heard that or she didn't say anything about it. And she was like, did you go to a show before? Just so calmly. And maybe she was tired, maybe she just wanted to be calm, but I was like, yeah, I did. I went to the Dallas show. And she goes, I feel like I saw you there. And I was like, I was pretty close. And she was like, yeah, I definitely saw you there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that means so much. And I was like, I told her, I was like, I love you so much. And she was like, I love you too. And again, security starts to push me some more, and I start freaking out again. And she walks kind of around the banner to the other side to talk to me for half a second more. And she says, like ever so calmly, she says, you're so gorgeous. She said, I think you're so gorgeous, by the way. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, going to the concert before, meeting so many people, you know, I hear it a lot, you know. I'm not trying to be conceited, but I hear people say, oh, you're so beautiful, I think you're so pretty. And, you know, I feel like it's a common thing, a common compliment that people would just say to other people, you know. And it sometimes doesn't matter what the world has to say. Sometimes you yourself, you just can't believe things just because you won't let yourself believe it, you know. And just talking to Camila, she was so calm, she seemed so sincere when she said it. And just for half a second, I was like, wow, she thinks I'm beautiful? Like wow. And I was just like, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And I mean, just for half a second, I believed her. And then they shoved me out. Oh, they shoved me out. And every little bit of like happiness that was like somewhat calming me down just went out the window, just flew away. I burst into tears. They like shoved me out of the room. They gave me back my purse. They left all of my shirts that I paid for on the floor. They didn't give them to the girls. I know they didn't give them to the girls. And I had a special one custom made for Lauren. Custom made. They didn't give it to him. So then I go outside and I'm just like, I'm in tears. Like I'm just crying, hyperventilating. And they're trying to force me to go back into that room. And I said, I can't go into that room. I have to be outside. Like I was like, do you not realize I'm having a panic attack right now? And then I was like, I couldn't even really make words. And I was like, I have to find my boyfriend. I have to find my boyfriend. And then the security guard, I walk past him because I'm just like, I can't go back in there, the room they were just putting everybody else, hurting them into or whatever. So that I run past there and I make it outside and out into like the main hall, and I find like a security guard and like a concession stand worker, and I'm like, please, like, you have to let me outside. I can't breathe right now. Like, I'm not okay. There's like tears like all down my face. I was like, I have to find my boyfriend. I have to find him. And then until finally this guard is like, okay, I guess you can go outside. And he's like, you know, to get some fresh air. And he's like, you have to come back in this door, okay? And then he like looked at me for half a second longer, and he was like, should I call someone? Should I call like a paramedic or something? And I was like, no, I'm fine. And then so I just start running and crying outside. And then the saddest thing, like the worst thing about the whole situation is that like I'm supposed to be somebody that like people can look up to, and I'm outside crying a total mess. I look so weak, and I'm just looking for Chase, and he's over in the line, and I guess he sees me running out, so he starts calling me or whatever. And so I just keep running and run to the car, and then I like collapse onto the floor, and he's like, are you okay? What happened? And I was like, I couldn't breathe. I was like, And he was like, I was like, please let me in the car. I need to sit down, please. And he's like, okay. And so we sit in the car, and I'm just like trying to calm down. I'm like crying because nothing went the way I wanted it to, you know? And I was just like, oh, it just was like so rushed, you know? Like their security treated me like actual shit. I didn't feel like a real person, you know? And I was just like, why did they have to treat me that way? I spent so much money to see them for literally like no longer than 15 seconds. And I understand it's their job, but like I had respect for those people, and the least they could do was just treat me like a decent person. And it honestly really hurt my feelings and extremely spiked my anxiety, most definitely. And so I was freaking out in the car. And then I remembered what my friend said, you know, put your hands over your face. And so I was just able to breathe and calm down. And then we sat in the car for maybe like an hour, probably 30-45 minutes. And you know, I don't really know, because time was just weird in that situation. And it was so sad because there were people who could see me, you know, and I was just like, I don't want to be this person for these people, you know. I'm supposed to be this strong person, and I couldn't. And it just, like, it killed me. Like, it literally did. And I mean, I sat there and I told Chase, and he was like, you know, it's okay, like, it's gonna be okay. And so I tweeted to let you guys know, you know, what's going on and stuff. And so you guys were so helpful and so supporting and stuff, and it was just really amazing. I mean, honestly, the experience, like meeting the girls, talking to them, the fact that they knew who I was just so amazing, you know? Like, oh my gosh, it felt like such a, like, I mean, an uplift to just know that they like could recognize me by just looking at me, and it made me so happy. Like, honestly, it was amazing. Just, you know, the meeting part. Everything else was pretty terrible, but it was so nice to meet them. And I just want to, you know, share my experience with you. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to tell you more about the concerts in another video, but, you know, it's definitely going to be way happier. That was just like the only bad thing that happened in the whole situation. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to share my experience with you. And hopefully if you go to a meet and greet, they'll treat you way better than Midland's security treated me, you know? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I love you so much. Bye.